California's central coast is an incredibly diverse landscape. A combination of factors such as its cold offshore waters, its many microclimates, and its isolation from the rest of the continent allow for a high rate of speciation among different communities. In short, the state is on fire when it comes to a contest of diversity. California has a mild Mediterranean climate with dry, warm summers and rainy during winter months. People say that California has nice, warm, and good weather all around, which is an absolute lie. The cold offshore waters are terrible to swim in. Don't believe these people. This climate is created by the influence of the Pacific Ocean, creating a low-pressure zone, which causes the stable climate. The coastal ranges trap lots of moisture near the coast by creating a rain shadow, which keeps the coast foggy and mild all year round. The coast is dotted with saltwater marshes located at the outlets of streams and estuaries, which create a beneficial niche habitat which supports a specific set of organisms. These marshes also provide a stopover point and habitat for many bird species such as duck, and more duck. An incredible example of this is Pescadero Marsh.
The marsh sits at the mouth of the Pescadero Creek-Butano Creek watershed, fed by the two creeks and numerous small tributaries. The watershed is located in the Santa Cruz Mountains, part of the coastal ranges. The whole watershed sits on the Great Valley Complex, a rock formation mainly composed of sedimentary rocks from the Cretaceous period. Unlike other marshes on the coast, like Elkhorn Slough in Monterey Bay or the San Diego Bay Sweetwater Marsh, the seasonal erosion patterns play a special role in determining the ecology of this one. The marsh is connected to the Pacific through a thin channel which passes under Highway 1. During the winter, the channel is open, allowing ocean water to flow into the marsh, bringing with it many sea creatures like Neomysis species. But during the summer, something changes. When the wave strength decreases later in the spring, more sand is deposited onto the beaches, filling the channel with a sandbar. This separation from the ocean causes the marsh to fill with fresh water from the watershed and dilutes the salt water, completely changing the ecosystem. This causes a die-off of many of the ocean-going creatures and replaces them with an assortment of freshwater organisms, like many invertebrates such as diving beetles, water boatmen, salamanders, and snails, which all thrive during this time period. But if the sandbar closes later in the summer, less freshwater flow down the river persists, leading to the marsh staying saltier all summer. As summer progresses, evaporation and ocean seepage increase the salinity beyond that of the ocean. The saltier, shallow water heats up, lowering the dissolved oxygen levels and causing a mass die-offs during the summer. The cycles of mass die-offs contribute to the buildup of organic matter in the marsh, combined with lower oxygen leads to low microbial activity. When the winter rains return and the ocean waves become rougher, the sandbar erodes away into the sea. This allows the marsh to fill up with seawater and the cycle begins over again.
At the Monterey Bay Aquarium, real-world conservation efforts come to life. This facility is more than just a public attraction, it's a vital rehabilitation center for stranded or injured sea otters. Young otters brought here are taught survival skills they will need in the wild, learning how to dive, hunt, and protect themselves. Once they are ready, these otters are returned to the open ocean, where they help restore balance to our coastal ecosystem. These efforts not only give otters a second chance, but also support the broader health of our marine environment.
Farther down the coast, a large otter population thrives in the kelp forest habitat present in Monterey Bay. These kelp forests serve as the backbone of this ecosystem, providing habitat, food, and protection for countless marine creatures. The differentiation of tissues in the kelp creates a wider variety of niche for organisms to occupy. Kelp holdfast provides habitat for static species such as porifera and ascidians. Many species of sedentary algae inhabit the steppe, and mammals such as seals and sea lions use the fronds to hide their young in. However, not all is peaceful and good in. Present in every ocean in the world, with their spiny top, shell, and tube feet, these little villains feed in algae, mussels, and sea-shatteringly kelp. Not only that, these urchins are the rabbits of the sea. One female urchin can produce up to 20 million eggs in 1 year. But all is not lost. In the kelp forest, the main predator of the sea urchin are sea otters. In these coastal waters, foundation species like kelp create the physical environment, supporting marine life just like trees do on land. Then, keystone species like the sea otter exert their influence by maintaining the balance among other species. Without them, the ecosystem would shift dramatically, impacting biodiversity and disrupting food chains. This interconnectedness is essential for the health of our oceans.
The Central Coast is a vivid example of nature's intricate balance, one where each element, from sea otters to kelp forests, play an essential role. These kelp forests anchor marine life, providing shelter and food, while sea otters act as a natural guardians, controlling sea urchin population that could otherwise strip the underwater landscape bare. This dynamic balance, sustained through countless interactions, faces new and intensifying challenges from climate change. With the growing human population, more carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere, increasing the amount of dissolved in the ocean. When carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it reacts to form carbonate ions, which marine creatures rely on for building their shells and skeletons. However, as more carbon dioxide dissolves, it produces more hydrogen ions, which react with and reduce the availability of carbonate ions. This makes it harder for marine animals like clams to access the carbonate they need to build and maintain their shells. As this process continues, the size of clams and other small marine species may gradually shrink, disrupting the balance of the entire marine ecosystem. Additionally, the increasing concentration of hydrogen ions may lead to higher acidity in our ocean over time. This could even prevent clams and similar species from forming their shells entirely. Each small choice we make, whether it's conserving energy, using cleaner transportation, or supporting conservation initiatives, contributes to the resilience of these environments. In the coming years, adapting to sea level rises and protecting coastal habitats will create opportunity to actively shape a sustainable future. This is a legacy we can help secure for ourselves and for generations yet to come. Together, we can protect this Central Coast region and the life they sustain for generations to come.
The ecosystem revolves around a fine balance of biotic and abiotic factors, especially visible in the interactions between sea otters, kelp forests, and sea urchins. Abiotic factors like cool ocean temperatures, nutrient-rich waters driven by upwelling, and the rocky coastal habitat create the perfect environment for kelp to anchor and grow. Kelp, in turn, supports a whole community of marine life, from tiny invertebrates to larger fish. But kelp forests face constant pressure from biotic interactions. Sea urchins, for example, feed heavily on kelp and, without control, they can devastate entire kelp forests, turning lush underwater landscapes into urchin barrens. That's where the sea otters come in. To stop predators, they prey on sea urchins, keeping their populations in check and allowing the kelp forests to thrive. This dynamic, where abiotic factors support kelp and biotic interactions between otters and urchins protected, shows how deeply connected every part of this ecosystem is. It's a perfect example of how living things and the non-living environment lean on one another to maintain balance along the Central Coast.
Behind the game.
Like,
Showing that shot here.
yeah.
You see me like this for one frame and then you go on to the next shot. Yes!
Oops.
Okay.
There's something incriminating.
Nothing incriminating, it says.
It's just silly. It's a silly thing. Have a wild markham. I think it gives Mexico vibes. Oh yeah, and there's just some guys here, like ducks and whoever those are.